Surprised, as deep as you were, like did you have to go to detox?
No, I woke up in Seattle in a place where I could no longer gain access to it, and then I found it there. And then I just
In
had
jail?
No, not in jail. No, I was just in Seattle, staying
Okay.
with Hunter, who I live with now. Shout out Hunter. He has you guys on his fridge.
Hell yeah.
Which is weird for me because I'll be coming home and I'll be drinking wine on the island, watching football, and I turn around to get another glass, and I've got to go through you guys first.
That's right.
To get my next glass of wine.
So how did you I don't know. I haven't heard of too many people who had it as rough as you did who just didn't do treatment at all.
I started working out.
But you weren't
therapy.
at physical risk of with withdrawals and stuff like that?
Oh, no, I had serious withdrawal.
I was dug it out?
Yeah, I just thugged it out.
That's
yeah. I just walked in. No, but I think Seattle was good because I was.
He's saying he's stronger than you.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Well, I tapered myself. It's not like I had to do. At least give me credit for that. I didn't do detox.
I was saying that he was saying that. I didn't.
No.
I think you're very. Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend the way I did it to anybody. I mean, there were some obvious side effects, but waking up in Seattle was great because I could walk down the street and buy a joint legally, and that helped.
Segue.
That helped the taper quite a bit, And then by the time I got back to Texas, I was just good. I didn't need it anymore.
And you never.
And then my son was born. My son was born, and that was that kind of. That's kind of sliding in under the garage door.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is if you're a drug addict,
you should have
a child.
Kid.
Yeah, have a kid.
That will help.
Have a kid. And if you're thinking about quitting doing drugs, you're almost there. Just keep going.
Just get that takeaway
Keep going.
from today. Boy, where do we want to start? Let's start with this one since we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and this does relate to the HAB and the AA. He was a Southwest pilot of a Chicago-bound flight. This was at Savannah Hilton Head International in Georgia. This is a 7 a.m. flight, 52-year-old dude, and the flight had to be delayed for nearly 4 hours as they replaced the pilot because he was hammered. Yeah.
So he was following Lawrence's advice.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Keep going. And now he's probably he's going to slim down.
Yeah, this is the greatest day of his life.
It could be.
Could be.
Because as I've told you guys, the place that I went in Southlake for when I just went to therapy there, and it was, addiction based. They had some sort of a working relationship, like a partnership with American Airlines. That's how frequent it was. I met 3 or 4 pilots over the couple years in and out of there.
What about
tons of flight attendants?
What about it makes it such a...
It's the travel. It's stressful, and it's like, hey, look, we're...
Free little bottles.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, we got 2 hours in this city, let's stop at a bar. Or we got a random overnight in Miami. You know about those, flop houses where you can rent rooms all over DFW.
I think about that a lot in Grapevine.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
In Grapevine.
I think... I don't know why
together?
I guess that's what it is.
All the sex
travel
that's happening in those pilots
and you can kind of tell too when it's kind of like gaydar. I think I could tell usually which flight attendants partied, male, female, otherwise, and
they're getting older. You know what I mean? The last few flights I get on, I'm like, I got the real seniority stewardesses,
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you on the cheap airlines?
Yeah. And I'm like,
there you
this is not. Every time I get on a flight recently,
get on a chartered plane, they're hots.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Stars flight.
Well, when you get on a Spirit flight and there's 300 people, I like to think about how we don't give 9/11 enough credit, those guys. I just think if the 4 of us had to take over a plane, I'm like, how am we taking over? And you're gonna get into the cockpit,
yeah,
and you're gonna fly and nail it. I don't know.
Well, back then they were inviting you in.
They would invite you in,
basically.
It wasn't.
I might have mentioned
the door. They would walk in and out of that thing during the flight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
Yeah.
It was definitely way different. I mean, you could go just chill at the airport. I would do that in high school.
Wouldn't they hand the first 50 flyers? They would hand you a box cutter.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, with a little logo on it. It was great.
Thank you for flying with Southwest.
I was always pissed because why would they limit it to the first 50?
I know. They
I
have
bought the
more.
ticket. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, very, very common. And no, the flight attendants, because I would be like, whatever. I would have a drink on pretty much every flight I was on, at least one. And you'd order one, and the lady would see me looking at the menu, like kind of debating, do I want to have a second one? And she would just come drop two in front of me every time.
So that's always nice.
So you knew she likes to party.
Yeah, she would give me
She understands.
She'd give me the little tap on the
Like, I get
shoulder,
it.
like, "Oh, you're fine. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's sweet. So, anyways, pilot was drunk. Probably gonna lose your job over that one. Currently, just on administrative leave.
Which is that better or worse than yelling the C word at a lady at a Philadelphia Eagles game?
That's so much worse.
Okay, well, he got administrative leave.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, just being vulgar but not physical at a sporting event with no relation to your job at all. I just don't think that's worth getting fired over. Now, I will tell you this.
I'm business in the front and C word in the back. You know, and this is
Wait, someone at a sporting event was yelling profanity?
Yeah.
No way.
yeah.
Pilots, I do know this. Very hard to fire. I learned that also from
union.
These people.
Really?
Yeah.
Strong union.
Yeah. Other airport news. This one local. Police arrested a man at Love Field over the weekend for a hit and run that happened a couple weeks ago in Cockrell Hill. He was out of town on business. 24-year-old guy. He was in, I think, Tennessee. Touchdown. You know how you and I would be like, it's a beating when you live in like Fort Worth. You got like a 45-minute drive after this long flight. Well, for this guy, he landed and they were like, you're going to jail.
Yeah, that's a long layover.
Wait, from the hit and run here?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, what a great – if you're going to do a hit and run, you should do it out of town.
No, it happened January 2nd, and he had actually –
So they had just followed him and figured it out while he's on the flight.
Yeah, well, and they'd been piecing it together for a couple weeks.
Like he wasn't leaving to flee, was he?
No.
Like thinking Nashville, they can't get me?
Then he probably wouldn't have been arrested coming back.
Oh, it was coming back?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was when he landed
said
in
it wrong.
Nashville.
No,
Sorry.
he was coming back from Nashville. The police had actually talked to him about it on the phone.
Oh, okay. So he
beforehand, and he said, like, hey.
He knew it's closing in on me.
He said, I thought I hit a pothole. You know how Cockrell Hill has bumpy roads. He admitted that he was taking medication
maybe fix
that
the
day.
roads around here.
Yeah. You know, I've been thinking, that mayor, what's he up to?
Can I say, I miss the days when, like, getting on a plane meant you got away.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, if you could just make it to the airport and get on the plane. Like, I still don't understand how things work. Like, if I'm in Ohio and I get a ticket, if I get on the plane and I fly back to Texas, does that exist? Did that ever happen?
It's a
what
good
happens
question
to me.
Yeah,
like if I just never pay that
do you have a warrant? Like, let's say you have a warrant in Ohio, but you never go back
for like a speeding ticket. Are they gonna transport
Well, let's make it better. California, you get the infraction, and then you come to Texas. Would Texas support this blue state, saying in their charge like that? They're just trying to railroad me over there.
Yeah, lib justice system out to get me, right-leaning Republican Texan.
Right.
Like I'm in Vegas, I'm acting a little crazy, and I see a cop, and I'm like, you're only a cop here. You're not a cop where I live.
I don't know how that works. I don't really know how
I grew up thinking, I grew up watching a show called The Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
And if you got to the county line, the cops would just kind of like peel off. Like, God damn.
Right?
I'm at the county line. Can't do anything.
Can't do anything about it.
But I'll still hear stuff like that in like police chases.
I was in a high-speed police chase once.
Let's go.
Yeah, I got away. I mean, you never get away. Oh God. So I was like 23. I was about to move to Austin, and I'd been working at the same restaurant for like years, and they had a going away party for me. Long story short, I pull into an alley. I just needed to pee. I couldn't make it all the way to my house. So I'm in like a neighborhood in Plano, and I pull into this alley. And I know this neighborhood really well. I pull in this alley to take a piss. I'm by myself. I'm wearing like a black button-up, tucked into khakis, and I'm taking a piss, and I jump back in my car. And at the time, I'd had two POMs, 2 possessions of marijuana in my life. So I thought in Texas, if you got a third drug arrest for the same thing, it's a felony. So all of a sudden, this Plano cop comes flying up behind me, and he makes me, he's talking to me, and I have like an eighth of weed right here. And he's got my driver's license, and he starts telling me, he's like, okay, well, I want you to get out of the car. He's like accusing me of stealing out of alleys. I'm like, you know, who steals out of alleys
What do
by
you think
themselves?
I am?
Like,
A possum?
Yeah.
Like who's like, let's get a big score. I know where the alleys are.
I was just honest. I was like, I had to pee. I couldn't make it. I pulled over. So he's telling me to get out of the car. And I just did like some dumb math in my head. I thought like, well, I know if I get out and he's going to find this weed, that's a felony. If I just drive off far enough and throw the weed out of the car and then they arrest me, they rough me up.
Yeah, okay. Good plan.
Is that a felony? I don't know. I don't have Google back then. You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think it would have helped you all that much if you'd have been like, hold on, officer.
Hold on, I need to
I
pull
actually
up-
have a chat GPT component on my phone.
I didn't have that access. So what I did is I just peeled off. And I peel off out of the alley. I chunk the weed out of the car, and now I'm darting through alleys. I'm darting through, and I can hear all the squad cars
And he's
going
got your
on.
license, right?
Well, yeah.
So like he knows who you are.
That's you know, so they're chasing me for a while, but I guess the fact that they had my license, you know,
They weren't trying too hard.
they
They're
weren't
like,
trying too hard. You don't forget that you did this, but 2 years go by. 2 years go by. I hear nothing. I hear nothing.
so they never showed up the next day.
No, went
They
back.
weren't waiting at your house.
Went back, got my weed.
Nice.
Yeah, they weren't waiting at my house. 2 years later, I got a letter in the mail saying, yeah, you've been indicted by a grand jury for evading arrest with a motorized vehicle.
Whoa.
Yeah, but it was
That
was a shitty letter.
that worries me.
Yeah, right? Right?
Do you feel you were profiled there? Were you racially profiled?
You know, I don't know. Well, I mean, it's
Would
Plano.
they have pulled me over and said I was stealing from an alley?
I think if
I don't
was
look like
in-
an alley stealer.
That's why I like being in Dallas. In Dallas, cops have things to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Plano, cops don't have a lot going on. Like, oh, is that somebody in an alley? We better investigate this.
Yeah.
Not since the black tar.
You know? But I got a lawyer.
It's a good first step.
Yeah.
Not going in solo.
At that time in my life, I sold drugs for a long time. So at that time in my life, I had enough money to get a good lawyer to fight this drug case for me. And he got it dropped down to a misdemeanor. I had to serve some time on probation. But turns out evading arrest is a felony. But they got it dropped to a misdemeanor. But if I would have got caught with that weed, that would have been a felony.
The math checks.
So in the end,
Yeah.
I guess I won.
How much time have you actually been incarcerated, like days total?
As a young man, I got arrested a lot. I don't know off the top of my a lot.
A lot. Okay.
And I'm like 20 years out now.
Yeah,
At
I
being
know.
in any kind of trouble at all. But one time I just failed a piss test and they locked me up for 2 or 3 weeks in county for failing a piss test for weed
Yeah.
in Collin County. Yeah, which sucked. That was because as a Hispanic, you know, they separate you whenever you get to jail by ethnicity a lot of times. So my bunkmate every night was like a different Latino person, and then they would just be gone the next day because they'd get deported or sent to wherever they would send them. And then one night I had this like massive, like 6'2" DeMarco Murray black dude, and he's sitting on the bottom bench, and I'm just reading To Kill a Mockingbird.
Performative.
And he kept like rocking back and forth on the bed every night, like making noises. And I thought, like, if this dude stands up and tries to kill me, like, I think he could do it for sure. And the next day he's gone, but his stuff's there. And eventually I asked a guard a couple days later, I was like, hey, what happened to the dude that was in my cell? Because he was acting real crazy. He's like, oh, yeah, no, that dude's literally insane. We took him to the psych ward. He's never coming back here. And I was like,
Yeah.
good. I'm here for marijuana, for a gram of marijuana. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, there were a couple people in the HAB that they needed a different type of care.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
there's really no way to filter that out. So you'd be having this like conversation of, hey, here's the things that I think I could do better in life. And my life is pretty good, to be honest, relative to a lot of people that are there dealing with much more serious things. But you're working through this. You're like, here's a way I could cope better. And then some guy would stand up and just be like, I tried to light my ex-girlfriend on fire. And I'm like, yeah, I have a hard time relaxing.
Yeah, I've got a lot of anxiety
Yeah.
about situation like
Sometimes I'm bummed out about this or that. And this guy's like, yeah, well, you know, and he'd lift up his shirt and be like, my entire right side was, you know, burned in an oil field fire because I was smoking meth and dropped my pipe or something. And he's like, I can't see. Just crazy.
But
crazy
you know,
shit.
you say your life's good. You remember Hollywood Henderson?
Yeah.
As a young man, I had to go to an outpatient rehab, and I remember they made us watch this video, and he had this great line where he's talking about being like, I don't know, it was the playoffs of the Super Bowl, and he was so addicted to crack at the time that he was in a huddle, And like, when you get strung out on that stuff, as I've been, like, little things on the ground will look like drugs. And he was just talking about being in an NFL football game, and he looked down and he like tried to reach for a crack rock, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's not there. All right, line up,
so
next play, and he's having a great life.
Yeah, no, it's
He's
possible.
having a great life. You know what I mean?
You know the thing about him?
What?
He won the lottery.
Oh, really?
He won the lottery twice. He wins the lottery, and then, like 10 years later, he won the lottery again.
Kind of a reverse Nate Newton.
Yeah.
The luckiest guy in the world.
Yeah, and did crack and played in the Super Bowl. What a life.
Tough news for Dan, as singer-actor Jessica Simpson and her husband, former NFL player Eric Johnson, are calling it quits.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, really?
After 10 years.
I wonder if she needs to look in the mirror.
Right?
I know we can blame John Mayer and we could blame Tony Romo, and they're all a-holes to me. I read her book.
You read her book?
Oh, yeah.
What inspires you to read her book, Dan?
Someone told me that there was something that made Tony Romo look foolish in there, so I'm like, I'll read the whole thing.
Really?
Instead of like just the Tony Romo chapter.
When Tony Romo was in his prime and he was dating her. By the way, one time I got out of jail and Tony Romo threw 4 touchdowns on that day, and like that makes the house so much happier. Really.
Wait, would you have like sober living or something?
Do what?
Wait, what house?
No, my grandparents' house.
Okay.
Like I had just gotten arrested. They had to bail me out. And it was on a Thanksgiving. And then Tony Romo threw 4 or 5 touchdowns. And that really helped the vibe.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
But when he was dating her, like, it's just like, dude, date a girl from Sonic.
I know. Yeah, come to Haltom City.
She wouldn't have made you go to Cabo.
Yeah.
But no, he used to play Madden all the time, and he'd play with himself. He'd be himself. And what else was the thing?
He would blast her music on his boat and sing.
Like Louisville and like,
yeah.
He's not a guy who reads the room a lot of times.
Kind of guy that would wear his own jersey.
Sure.
Hang out.
Sure.
Didn't allow her to do some scenes with other men or something.
Yeah, he didn't want her kissing.
Yeah.
Went full Andre Agassi.
Yeah.
This all sounds completely reasonable to me. This all sounds so reasonable.
To the neurotic recovering addict.
Yeah.
Then I read the whole book, and
Normal
she had
stuff.
a little tough time. I mean, she had the tough time. The thing that all hot girls say, like,
Incel Dan.
my jugs were too big in school, and then I felt self-conscious about it, and then everybody just bought me stuff and were really nice to me all the time.
Then I dated the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and it was stressful.
And then when I got my $1 million contract, they were telling me, even though I was really hot, I had to lose 5 pounds. And okay, sorry, the way they treat you, yeah.
Well, let's wrap up with another story of a woman that perhaps Dan can respect because she earned it. She earned it the hard way. Last month, it was Lily Phillips and her 101 men in 24 hours for her OnlyFans. Well, a woman that I have seen actually with that Lily Phillips lady, her name is Bonnie Blue. And she also has an OnlyFans. I believe she's filmed, like I said, some scenes with Mrs. Phillips. And she posted over the last couple days on her Instagram and TikTok that she said, cute. I got to 1,057 in 12 hours.
Hold my beer.
Why not stop at the round number?
She said that there
Why
were
we
still
tossing
some guys
57?
in the queue, as the Brits say, and she's like, I wanted them to get what they came for. 1,000 was the number she was going for.
Is everybody finishing?
No.
Let's break it down.
No.
So this article has it at
Just insert?
40 seconds per male, right?
Oh, wow.
And my thing is, here's where I'm confused. If all it takes is an in and out to count, it shouldn't even take that long.
Yeah.
Like that should take 7 seconds because she's definitely already ready to go.
Well, if I drove all the way over here, I got to get at least 40 seconds.
Well, that's the thing, is are they timing it at 40? Like the 40 is the average. But are some guys quicker or some, because her bit, and she's been doing this for a while, and it is a very good bit because it pisses people off. She does OnlyFans, right? It's not really like, that's the way now. You're not really getting a lot of new porn stars that are just doing it for the love of the game.
Like Pornhub or whatever?
Yeah, which
People are just going right to OnlyFans.
yes, primarily, which is weird because OnlyFans is also not just all yourself. Like there's it's a big company. It donates a lot of money to Israel too, by the way, folks. Just letting you know.
Good or bad? Who am I supposed to be happy with?
I simply
I don't
mentioned that they are a
Am I
huge
funding
contributor.
terrorism with this?
They are a huge contributor to AIPAC, the pro-Israel lobby in the United States.
Oh, that's
I'm
not the
just pointing
oil
that out.
thing?
OPEC?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you knew OPEC.
I know a lot of stuff.
But with OnlyFans, you have to pay for it, right?
Yes, and this woman in particular averages 500,000 a month. No, wait, I think I have that wrong. 600. She makes 600,000 pounds a month, so about 500 grand, 600 grand a month from her subscribers. And what she does and what she's done in the past, Dan, before we get to this most recent stunt, she'll go to like college campuses in London, in Fiji, and in Australia, and she'll go when it's like freshman week or orientation week.
Such a good idea.
And she'll just
I would have been in line.
She'll show up and she's like, I will
know?
have sex with every single person here that wants to if I can film it.
Absolutely.
And I've seen her do it. Like, not do it, but I've seen clips where she'll go up, she'll have some super shy, nerdy-looking 18-year-old, and she's like, come on. And she's hot, obviously.
Yeah.
And
you watch these.
I
that
haven't
sounds
watched her
great.
watch it because I'm not going to pay for that, but I'm aware of who she is and what she's done. And it pisses people off. She's like, you're a predator. She's like, yeah, actually, they're adults, and they're allowed to do what they want. They're allowed to go fight in wars. So they can have a run at me if they want. She is completely shameless about it. She went to Cancun in March, spring break. She's just like, we'll go. Let's go.
Yeah.
If I can film it. Something called Schoolies, which is a week in Australia, and Freshers, which is a week in the UK, where she just shares her location online and goes for it.
I wonder
Now,
if dudes are doing this too.
She doesn't have STDs. There's no.
well, that's the thing is, I assume maybe we'll put this on the company card for research, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just see how it goes. My guess is that they're all connied up.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like a condom place needs to sponsor her if that's the case. They're like, hey, look, these work.
Yeah.
These definitely work.
Because I believe in the case of Lily Phillips, like not everyone did work.
Well, she had people get STD tests. I watched the documentary.
Yeah.
About Lily
the
Phillips.
documentary. I love
It
the
was a
loopholes.
documentary.
I watched the documentary. Yeah.
101 minutes, 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had people get tested.
But then they ran out of. They needed more guys and just started saying, "Just show up."
Yeah, it was a big fail. But yeah, they had to wear the Connie for insertion, but not for when she was
Completion.
helping them out.
Okay.
Because remember, like she said, she couldn't. Her eyes hurt that day because of all the jizz in her eyes.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a rough day at the office.
This woman looks fine afterward. Lily Phillips looked very
Emotionally drained.
Not so good, folks.
Like
This lady came out.
like a retired NFL player that can still walk good. You know,
Yeah.
like, it didn't really bother me
Yeah.
at all. Yeah.
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 The other lady's like, I don't know where
Meanwhile,
I've
Herschel
been.
Walker can barely.
But she seemed fine. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know
So you
what
think the first girl was kind of overplaying it? Like you weren't that bad.
that or she wasn't a real ball knower.
Yeah.
Okay, she's attractive.
This chick
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
what's up.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder what causes that to
Like
happen.
that urge.
Yeah. To become that.
I think it's a
Money?
marketing
Yeah.
ploy.
What do you?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're judging her.
There was a
No,
lot
I'm
of
not
greedy
judging.
people who wouldn't take 1,000 dicks in half a day.
Yeah.
There's something else going on underneath there where you're like, yeah,
There's a
this-
gateway somewhere.
Yeah. Probably a little sexual abuse.
Yeah. I mean, it'd take 1,000.
But how would it work with a dude,
She
right?
just likes number. Well, I'm saying a gay dude
What do you mean?
taking 1,000 dudes or 100 dudes.
Yeah, that feels like it'd be harder.
Right?
Again, things harder for men.
Yeah.
You know, women.
But I guess if your butt is already like,
Yeah, it's yeah.
out there, then you can just whoop, whoop.
We can find out next Thursday.
Come
But
to
I
the
heard some
Rivian.
people saying like, oh, what if a man? Because she actually like brags about like, hey, I want to take guys' virginities. That's something I like. Like, what if a man did that? Like, well, then they would say the same thing, which is that this is weird.
Like, what's your body count is a big thing on the internet these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, the man on the street stuff.
Oh, like
So
how they
there's
found
debate.
Hawk Tua?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just a debate about
Yeah.
what body counts are too high. I mean, it's a debate as old as time.
It's really easy. You get a
I think
young
Will
Yeah.
Compton came up with this.
Jesus, I'm such a prude. I'm so.
You get a young couple on the street.
Yeah.
You ask him what's his body count. And
Basically,
you
just
ask
try to
hers.
ruin their relationship.
Yeah. Then when hers is triple the amount of his, he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
As
easy.
I mean, I knew this when I was in college. Don't know. You don't want to know. You
Yeah.
do not want to know.
I've never asked.
Like
a
your
girl to
wife, if
tell
she's
me.
really good at whatever, you're like, you don't want to know how she figured that out.
Yeah, where'd you
That
learn
wasn't
that?
a first.
That's my
She's not
business.
just a natural.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
learned that. Some really scummy guy made her do that.
It doesn't have to be a
It
made
always
her
is.
do
It
that.
always is. She was reluctant, but then she did it, and then you're up. You should be upset to know she kind of likes it. Like she likes doing it to you. You're like, oh man, it must be just me. It's not.
It's all right, Dan. Settle down.
She's in there. I'm saying. And you don't want to think about it. You don't want to know. The more you know, it's the opposite of the Monty Hall thing. The more information you have, it's the worse.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't ask.
Statistically,
You don't ask. And then, real quick here, I don't know how the Roast Twins are handling this. Do we need a report from them on TikTok? Because we're staring
Is
down
this
the
a fish?
barrel of
I
a
keep
Chinese
hearing
gun
this.
right now.
Is it really going to happen?
It would be January 19th, but the good news for those who would like to keep TikTok is while Trump was super against TikTok before and on board with banning it because of China and the national security and privacy issues, singing a different tune now. And he has put in I guess his team has put in a request with the Supreme Court of like, hey, don't let this happen on the 19th. We'll keep working it out.
Did Elon get to him?
So I don't think it was Elon per se in this case, although along with Elon and Zuck, the CEO of TikTok will be at the inauguration, seated with them. What appears to have changed is a couple things. One, TikTok worked super well for him this campaign.
Well, he'll love that then.
Yeah.
So it's probably sticking around.
And he met with a Republican mega donor named Jeff. His name is YASS. So in my head, it's just Jeff. Yes. Yes. A Republican mega donor who owns a significant share of ByteDance, which owns TikTok. Mr. Trump has said they did not discuss the company. But, yeah, he's a guy who's funding all of the pro-TikTok efforts here. And I didn't know this. I watched a year-old 60 Minutes segment on TikTok and its issues this morning. So it's Chinese. It comes from China. But the Chinese product, the version of it they have there, for people 14 and under, they're only allowed 40 minutes a day, and it feeds them like educational videos. Like science experiments you can do at home, museum tours, patriotism and national history. Like they ship them that, and they give us complete unfettered access to guy breaks dick doing dance challenge on milk crates. And we're like, fuck yeah.
See, this was my theory the other day about like they worry about North Korea building like nuclear material. And I said, like, we should just give them all of the things that they need to build nuclear material and be like, do it.
Yeah.
Put it together yourself. And just see how that goes. I think they would take care of themselves. You know, that's
It's
what
just all
they
of a
did to
sudden
us
you're
with
like, wow.
TikTok. They're like, oh, you guys like this? Yeah, go ahead and see what you do with it.
That's not a bad idea. But yeah, they're kind of Trojan horsing us here a little bit.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
What, dude, probably like the biggest shift in Chinese foreign policy was when they saw Chewbacca Mom. They're like, holy shit, they're watching this. Like really watching it. How do we feed them more of that?
I'm surprised I haven't opened for her yet.
Me too.
Shabaka Mom.
I tried to book her one time.
Oh,
like,
really?
Right in the height of it, and was referred to her agent.
The original Haktua.
She's got to be gettable now. Maybe there's a bit here.
Like us booking washed up.
Shovel Girl,
Yeah, you got Shovel Girl,
10 years after the fact.
Latarian. Who else? We were recently talking about somebody else we wanted to. Oh, the Bakerhead girl.
Yeah.
Like these are people that were tough to get at the time, but we could get now.
Lewinsky.
Boy, I don't know if she'd be easy to get. I'd love to get her though. She's a hero.
And Chewbacca Mom is turning into a full-on Roseanne.
She started as
Joy,
Yeah,
it's
that's
true.
right.
Joy evangelist, author, speaker, podcaster.
Joy
and
evangelist.
Once upon a time,
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca mom. There's your news.
The Dumb Zone News. Like and subscribe.